that are YouTube sensations. I got a YouTube sensation for you. Hello, good evening, and welcome. Actually, it's the morning. Good morning and welcome. We usually do an evening edition of the President Polo podcast, sometimes in the middle of the night. But today, it's a special morning edition because I got up today and I said, let's podcast. I'm right here at the Luxor. I got a little bit of a better scenic route for you, more entertaining for you today. And the stream should be pretty fine. If it's lagging, I apologize. But we're just going to sit back, relax, and stream right here in sunny Las Vegas. You know what? It's very, very difficult to get out. I understand a lot of the people who want to be where I'm at right now, but can't be due to the coronavirus. My hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to all of you. Just so you guys know where I've been, what I've been going through. I have not had the coronavirus. Neither has Holly, my fiance, had the corona, which is very good. But it has been a little bit of an issue with a lot of people I've noticed. And my dad got it, my mom got it, my uncle got it. A lot of people got it right now. And so I just encourage everyone to be out there to be safe, stay healthy, and hang in there. On my channel, we talk a lot about personal life. We talk about media. We talk about combat sports. But today, my first thing I want to talk about is the first couple episodes I've seen of Ozark. Man, Ozark has been incredible. The past 3 seasons have been phenomenal. And this 4th season opened up with Laura Linney and Jason Bateman with the family driving in the car, and they get in a car accident. And you're like, wait, what? So does that fast forward to later in the season? We'll have to see. If you watch all the episodes, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm only in the beginning of the season, and I'm really liking it. I'm finding it very, very different than the other seasons because the kids are getting older, and you see Jason Bateman's son do money laundering at 14 years old, and he's all proud of his son for money laundering at 14. And Laura Linney's like, don't you dare be proud of him. This is not the time to be proud of him. And I thought it was cute to see them grow up, and you see a guy, he's just a kid, and then he just grows up, and man, if I only could be a child actor back in those days. I was very close to be a child actor. I was on Daredevil 2003 for 4 days on set. Only got paid $100 a day. I wish it was $1,000, right? And I would have had a nice chunk of change with my Macaulay Culkin account. They set me up with one of those Macaulay Culkin accounts that keeps your parents from touching your money, so that when you get older, you have a certain percentage of your money. And I think I only had like $80 because I never did a lot of acting. I tried, but then I had some personal problems, and I stepped away from the business for a long time and just focused on theater and school. And then when I got out of high school, I went back and tried to pursue it a little bit. I studied it in college. So I wish I was a child actor. I wish I could relive my child actor days. It was so fun being on set of the Disney Channel and Daredevil. We'll talk a little bit about that. But Ozark, man, to see this kid who is just a kid, he was actually very good in the other season. So I've been kind of slow in watching it because I'm not too interested in what the kid's going to do. I more want to see what Jason Bateman's going to do in this new season of Ozark and what's going on. And as we see in the first couple episodes, the cartel leader, he wants to quit the business, and he wants to have a meetup with the FBI. And that's very interesting. I want to see if he's actually double crossing them, or if he's sincere about it, because he's having a little bit of a feud with his nephew, and he's slapping him around and embarrassing him in front of the other people because he's trying to assert his dominance as a cartel leader so that he doesn't get overthrown. But if you're going to slap him around and embarrass him in front of the other people, you better watch out, because he's going to come back for payback, right? That opening scene was very hilarious, because here they are in this car crash, and they're terrible money laundering people. They're sociopaths, because you see Laura Linney, she's like listening to this oldie song, smiling with the most creepy smile I've ever seen. And it's just the very opening. I encourage you guys, click that, watch it on Netflix. If you haven't seen all the 4 seasons, I don't know what to say for you guys if you haven't seen all the 4 seasons. Like, I remember when Breaking Bad got really popular and it was airing on AMC, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna jump in on it. I jumped in on it. That's when it's airing on television. You can't go back and watch the other seasons. So I don't know, man. Like, if you wanted to just be up to date with what people are talking about and just jump in at the very last season, then go back and watch the old seasons. That's up to you. That's what I did with Breaking Bad. People were talking about Breaking Bad. I jumped into it, watched the season that was airing live, and then went back and watched the old seasons. I remember when 24, one of my favorite shows, was on the air. Season 6, I didn't start watching it until then. That had been on like 4 years prior to that. It had been on 4 or 5 seasons prior to that. And I just jumped in watching the season. They were talking about it everywhere I went. At church, in the coffee shop, everywhere you went. In school, everyone was talking about the latest TV shows. Even on the pulpit, a preacher was like preaching about 24. And I remember in the 2008 primary election, one of the people said, who would you call on a terrorist event? They said, I would call Jack Bauer. They were joking about it. And it was like, man, I got to watch this show. Everyone's talking about it. You got to watch this show. Everyone is not as much talking about it, but it is really, really good. Ozark, season 4. Jump in it now or binge it from the beginning. But either way, it's very entertaining. Just the fact that they get into this car accident and she has this creepy look on her face. They're sociopaths. Are these people sociopaths or are they not? You tell me. Ozark. So, President Polo podcast right here, the Luxor. We're right next to the New York. And I parked at the Tropicana. And I walked over here. There's the Mandalay Bay behind me. Vegas strong, October 1, never forget. And it's a nice, quiet little place to podcast over here. I like it. I brought my fiance here, and we just kind of snuggled and kissed and talked here one time. And I want your heart and prayers to go out to her. She's struggling with the loss of her son. She lost custody of her son, her only son. And it's a closed adoption that she was coerced into signing. And if you guys know any legal resources, any advice, is there any way to get out of a closed adoption? I mean, I don't think there is, but she really, really regrets it. And she wants her kid back. I don't know how we would go about getting her kid back. Her kid's only 4 years old. And she shouldn't have gave him up. She really, really regrets it. She gave him up to family. The family doesn't even want to let her see him. She able to call him all the time. So she's very sad about that. And we're fighting a lot lately. We're at each other's throats, and it's very uncomfortable. But we love each other. She's sleeping in right now. Otherwise, she would be with me. She would have so many stories to tell you. She wears her heart on her sleeve, my fiance, Holly Jewell. And if you watched our last podcast, she talks about everything in her life, including when she was in this juvenile detention center that even Paris Hilton went to. It's a Mormon program. I don't know how they sent her to it. It's like a juvie where it's basically like a mean boarding school where they like treat the people like prisoners. She's always talking about this like interesting stuff that happened because it was like jail for her, interesting stuff that happened. And we can go into all kinds of stories. I'll leave that for her to do, but I can touch on a couple briefly here and there throughout the podcast where it helps. But this is going to be a shorter podcast. We went on and on and on in a 3-hour episode last time. Normally my podcasts are 30 to 40 minutes, but it's unlimited. It's whatever you feel like doing. So later today, I'm going to go to Zia Records, and I'm going to catch up on some movie action because I love going to those used record stores and browsing the bargain catalog. I picked up The Talented Mr. Ripley and Ripley's Game. If you've ever seen those movies, they're pretty good. Talk about sociopaths. I picked up Cop Out, just solely for that scene where they're doing a bunch of movie references in the beginning with Tracy Morgan. I wanted to see false advertising. I wanted to see the commentary by Kevin Smith, right? Because I love his stand-up commentary. but he doesn't really have audio commentary on that. He's like special features of him. So I was like, oh man. Holla to Kevin Smith, great entertainer. And let me see what I can do here as far as set up this camera so I can podcast better. Can you see I think you can see it there. Okay. That's a good one. I got a cigar here. Let's see if I have a light to light my cigar. That is a travesty. I don't have a light. Oh, no, you know what? I lied, another light. Sorry about not putting on the stand earlier. I had brought a stand specifically for the podcast, but I lost it. I gotta finish the cigar. It's a really nice $15 cigar. I don't know if I can light it because it's so windy. There's a lot of variables here today. We'll have to save this. I am celebrating, as you can see by my cigar that I was trying to light. One of the great things that happened is I signed my lease to my apartment. $1,400 lease. Had to pay $2,000 for this little studio. You've seen it. It's not the best thing since sliced bread, but it's an apartment and rent is skyrocketing. So let me just thank all the viewers right now. I know I got about 30 viewers here strong that will watch my podcast. Let's get into the nitty-gritty here. Let's talk about me when I was on the set of the 2003 film Daredevil. Now, I really enjoyed meeting Ben Affleck. I walked up to him, Big Ben. He's blowing smoke, cool as a cucumber. And Big Ben, howdy partner. Just passing by him, nonchalantly, trying to play it cool, trying to play one of the cool guys on set with him. And the funniest thing that happened during that shoot was this guy referenced Spider-Man. We're filming a Daredevil movie. Spider-Man 1 had come out. Spider-Man 2 had not come out. But we know the kind of feel of Spider-Man 1. There is some comedy in there. The production assistant, not the director, the production assistant told the group of extras to pretend like this is Spider-Man because everybody in that group had seen Spider-Man. And I know who Daredevil was because I love the comics. And at that point, I collected all the Marvel Masterpiece trading cards and all the action figures. I knew he was a blind lawyer. I knew he helped Spider-Man on cases. But I knew also that this was a Daredevil movie, not a Spider-Man movie. But I was thinking that it would be comedic. If you see this new age meta Daredevil 2003, you'll know that it's not a comedy. He starts out in a church. His dad dies in the alley. He gets ooze in his eyes, and he becomes Daredevil. And then he goes and he fights crime, and he fights Bullseye, and then he fights Kingpin, played by the late great actor from The Green Mile, Michael Clark Duncan, who died from a heart attack with his partner Omarosa. Died in Omarosa's arms. Very tragic. But yeah, so we have a new Kingpin now, which is really cool. I saw Hawkeye. Great thing, great discussion we can get into about that. And we have a new Daredevil. Charlie Cox is a great Daredevil. We've only ever had 2 Daredevil, Charlie Cox and my Ben Affleck, which is kind of crazy. I feel like Ben Affleck wants to know if he can get into the Marvel Cinematic Universe again. He would probably like to right that wrong, but so many fanboys would probably just say, "No, get your hands off of my Daredevil." But this guy on the set, the production assistant, was telling us to act like it's Spider-Man, right? Which is not Spider-Man. I'd say it's Marvel, so it's Spider-Man, but Daredevil and Spider-Man, 2 greatly different tones. The director of Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage is the same director, Mark Steven Johnson, of Daredevil. But funny enough, he also directed a romantic comedy after that. But this wasn't a comedy. He directed When in Rome with Kristen Bell. I love Kristen Bell. Highlighted Kristen Bell. But I love a lot of actresses. I love Sophia Lillis from It. Funny story about that I can get into later, where someone on the internet claiming to be her, I interviewed and asked them what their favorite movie was, asked them what they were doing, and I have the interview saved somewhere. I was gonna release it, but then I was like, this person never confirmed with me. Their identity didn't show. There's a whole story between me and Sophia Lillis, an interview that I have on text, but who knows if it was really her. But I still love her as an actress. She's very, very good. I feel like she was a little bit flirty, and she had just turned like 19 or something. She was a little bit flirty in the interview, and she was kind of trying to wanted to drop me from doing the interview acting, wanted to flirt, but I wasn't into that. I was just like, nope, I'm going to do this for my channel, want to interview her, get to know her. Like, I'm 33, what the heck? Anyway, so Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Spider-Man are completely different movies. So you have me making the whole crew laugh because I'm cracking jokes, I'm making funny faces, they're zooming in on me, they kept me around. They could have had me for one day, right? But they kept me around because I was the funny kid. I was with this black kid, and I grabbed him by his bald head and went, "Oh!" I pointed at him and shook his head like this, and pointed at Daredevil like, "Oh my gosh, look at Daredevil! Wow, wow!" And that was funny. And so you don't see that in there because that doesn't cut with the actual vibe of the film. You see the trailer. I'm in the trailer, but you see the trailer, and there's the kids in the playground scene, which I'm at. They're like, yeah, because we're in the ghetto and we're over there. We're in the streets. It's more like gritty, trying to be the Dark Knight before the Dark Knight was even here. We don't even know what. Maybe more of an X-Men vibe, because yeah, exactly, because 20th Century Fox produced Daredevil, so it was more of an X-Men 1 vibe than it was a Spider-Man vibe. Like, completely, you threw me off my rocker by doing a comedy. So I'm doing the comedies, I'm looking funny. I think that whole thing was a miscommunication. That whole movie didn't know the tone it wanted to be. You know, it wasn't really on the right track. From what I see, the director was more hands-off, the actors were more hands-off. No one was really passionate about the movie. I mean, like, they were just doing a movie. They were just doing their jobs. And I've seen people in another set, like, for instance, I'm not allowed to really disclose anything until the trailer comes out, but there's a movie that I filmed a few months back with J.D. Smoove in it and Wesley Snipes in it. I was an extra there. They love that movie. The people are passionate about it. It's more like an indie film, right? And they're passionate about it. They're cracking jokes. They're this and that. They know what they want. They know exactly where their actors are going to want to sit. They know they're dictating. They have the director and the assistant director dictating where they want everyone to turn, how they want things to say, the takes, how they want to do the takes. This was not like that. I've seen a lot of behind the scenes video. I've seen, like, the way Clint Eastwood directs someone. He doesn't even say action. He says, "Whenever you're ready." And he steps back and lets people perform the scene. This was like, nobody cared. Nobody cared. They were making a movie that made $40 million in opening weekend, and they probably thought, yeah, that's good enough. They didn't put the passion into it. It wasn't a big money thing like they are now in the superhero films. So it was just amazing getting to be on the set, getting to see the future Batman, the guy who had just been in Geely, though. So he's kind of like a byword at that time. We never know where we stand with Ben Affleck. He's coming in waves. He's won 2 Oscars and he's still not cool, you know. But so Spider-Man and Daredevil, Spider-Man 2002 and Daredevil 2003, they're nothing alike, those movies. Spider-Man is actually good. Daredevil does suck. I'm sorry. I was in a crappy Marvel movie, but at least I was in a Marvel movie and it was fun. So here I am shaking this guy's head. I'm pointing. I'm acting dumb. I'm laughing, and they're just loving it. But you know what? It's the director that gets to choose the tone of the film. So had he wanted to do that, he could have done that. And I tried to get the director's cut of the movie. I watched it, rewatched it, tried to give it a chance. I went into the special features to see if I would be able to see more clearly. I'm more clearly seen in the background of the film when Daredevil and Jennifer Garner are fighting, and she's like, "You should try asking for my number. I just want your name." And she puts her foot to his throat, and it zooms out. I'm pointing in a yellow shirt. The reason why I was able to be on set, probably even though I was a bad background actor, was because of the fact that I was wearing Puma. Puma was one of the sponsors of the movie. That just so happened that I was lucky to have Puma, and it was a bright shirt, so I stand out. I'm throwing a football in the beginning. It was just really fun. Like we're on Skid Row, LA, right? We're on Skid Row, LA. That's pretending to be the ghetto. It's pretending to be New York City, the Bronx, or the Hell's Kitchen, rather. Oh, New York City Hell's Kitchen, but it's the Skid Row, LA. And there's this opening scene. It's on the playgrounds where I'm at, where I'm throwing football, where I'm also on 2 places at the same time. I'm walking by, pointing. I'm looking at them. I'm the kid in a yellow shirt. And so while we're filming that, there's a hot dog stand guy. I got to talk to this guy at the hot dog stand for days. Me and him became fast friends. You see this guy at a hot dog stand, this African-American guy. So Jon Favreau and Ben Affleck passed by the hot dog stand. He's giving hot dogs. He's seen pretty clearly. Now, we were just hanging out. We're kids, you know. We're playing. We're being goofy, you know. And they caught a lot of it on film. I wish I could see it. I wish a lot of things, because I was on the set of Hangover 3 right here in Vegas in 2012, and I went up to the security guys. I was like, "Hey, let me be in the movie. Look, here are my headshots. Here's a demo reel of my acting." I slipped the guy $10 and said, "Give it to the producers." But I get to hang around on set because I was actually staying in the same hotel they were filming, and I saw the second unit director, second unit film crew just filming some B-roll of the strip. Is all I got to see. And but I wish I didn't give my headshots. I gave even not even my headshots. I should have gave copies of them. I gave them my original talent vouchers to let them see that I was in Daredevil, to show them that I was in whatever, the Disney Channel show, Lizzie McGuire. But so the funniest part about the filming of Daredevil was being there in Hell's Kitchen set, the set of Hell's Kitchen, supposedly Hell's Kitchen. And there's this old man. He's walking by. And he keeps saying, "Respect your elders, respect your elders." And he's walking back and forth, and he knows we're filming a movie, and he's trying to interrupt it, right? But he's just being a goofy guy. There's a lot of goofy characters on that set, and I was one of them. But my favorite guy, he wasn't even supposed to be there. He wasn't filmed at all. Was Old Man River. Old Man River was coming down. God rest his soul. I'm not sure if he's alive to this day. He was in his cane, and he said, "If I trip over these cords, I'm going to sue Paramount." It was funny. It just, me and the production assistants, we were hanging out talking about film and whatever. And this guy, he was trying to chit-chat with us, but he was being really grumpy about it. And we would laugh at him, and I would do impersonations of him, and they would laugh at that. It's just the old man River came by and said, I'm going to sue Paramount. I'm going to sue Paramount and all you guys. I'm going to sue all you guys. For what? Sue me for what? You know, he didn't fall down, but he was walking over the cords and the cables and stuff. It was a cane. It was adorable. He was the adorable old man River. That was my favorite part. Old man River, the random guy who was passing by on the set, asking what's going on. That was the funniest part about filming Daredevil 2003, which I filmed in the summer of 2002 and came out Valentine's Day 2003. But yes, I was in Lizzie McGuire in the episode 60 called Lizzie's 11, where they parody Ocean's 11. And I got to lock eyes with Hilary Duff. I got to lock eyes with her. And it was totally romantic. Like, I'm now like more and more in love with her as I saw the new How I Met Your Father series, and it made me cry. Like, I miss How I Met Your Mother. I miss it so much. And she's like, I miss you guys and this and that. She got turned down by one of her crushes. That broke my heart. And like, I just wish I could one day be an extra in one of her films again, one of her things again, be an extra in How I Met Your Father one day. It was just adorable. Like, everything about that was like, the opening episode of How I Met Your Father on Hulu rocked. It does service to the original, which I didn't think it could. How I Met Your Dad with Greta Gerwig, I wonder how that unaired pilot went. But this one was good. It's airing on Hulu. How I Met Your Father. It reminds me of when I was on the set with her in 2001. And that was my first time ever being on a set. I was fascinated by the cameras. And the director of the episode said, hey, Marco, we got enough of film on you, all right? You're getting more screen time than the president. Just get out the way. I kept trying to get into the shot, you know, which a lot of kids do. But I ended up being, clear as day in that episode. And I got to kick Hilary Duff by accident. She's crawling on the floor. And like, I tried to walk over her, but I kicked her. She's crawling on the floor because they never explain how. They just like jump into the episode that she lost the bet and she had to dress up like a rat crawling on the floor. And I just kind of trip over her, and she looks at me and I look at her, and our eyes lock. And I got to be on set with the other actors, and I got to talk to the other actors pretty good. Didn't get to talk to them that much. There's Hilary Duff and her brother, but I passed by them a lot. And then the mother of Hilary Duff in the episode, I remember her very well. But yeah, most of all, it just makes me want to go back and do that again. Be an extra once more, you know. President Polo Live, talking about Daredevil, talking about experience on Hilary Duff's Lizzie McGuire, old washed up extra nobody, always trying to make it in the business and never getting his shot. Hey, yo, Mick, I've been coming here for 6 years, and for 6 years you've been sticking it to me. I want to know how come. You don't want to know. I want to know now. All right, I'm going to tell you. Because for 6 years you had the talent to become a great fighter. But instead of that, you became a leg breaker for a cheap second-rate loan shark. It's a waste of life. When Stallone wrote that, he said he was trying to write about the most enduring subject, the most lasting thing, something that would make a difference, and it won the Oscar in 1976 for Best Picture. He said it was writing about somebody who never got their shot. That's what I feel like. I feel like Rocky. You know what? And the, oh my gosh, and the director's cut of Rocky IV, which just has came out, I don't know if it's altered, but that funeral speech got to me. It made me cry when he's at the funeral for Creed. Also, a couple of things they changed. They changed where he's about to throw in the towel and he holds it and decides not to, till he grabs the towel, and by the time he's about to throw it, the fight's over. So they don't make it like he didn't throw the towel. They make it a little bit different. And they don't say, you throw that towel, I'll kill you. They say, do it for my friend. Remember, I'm a friend fighting. So they changed it. They take out all the comedic beats. They make it very dramatic. I cried 3 times during Rocky 4. The director's cut. I loved it. I was like, I'm a wreck. My dad has COVID. He's in the hospital right now. So just anything make me cry. But yeah, he's been in the ICU for a month. And he's hanging in there. He's hanging in there. He got the heart of a lion. He's not giving up. So send your best wishes and thoughts, prayers to my dad, Adolfo Rocha, for hanging in there in COVID. They said he had 2 days to live, Monday. But he pulled through to the end of the week. They're saying he's doing stronger. But I was crying about Rocky, probably because my dad is just like in the hospital, sad. I was crying about Rocky and just the beautiful new director's cut. But Rocky, I am like him, never getting that shot right. I did some auditions growing up, but I'll tell you what happened, dude. I was so excited to be on the set. I was going to the set of Red Studios where they filmed I Love Lucy. And I was so excited I didn't sleep. I did my job that day. I came back, I was talking, having fun, had stories to tell. But I stopped sleeping. And I still kept up my grades, straight A's. But I started to get stressed out. And I started praying a lot, reading the Bible a lot, talking about God a lot. And because I started talking about God and reading the Bible a lot, people thought I was crazy. And a doctor recommended that I go to the mental hospital. I stayed there for a month. After I got out of the mental hospital, I started doing pills. I wasn't the same person anymore. And that pretty much ruined my young acting career. And I thought I had to get myself together and do this right. But ever since then, I've been an emotional wreck. I'm an emotional wreck as a person. It makes me a good actor, I think, the intensity that I bring to a role. But like when I was in my acting class, 2019, I took an acting class through college. I went back to college. I keep going back and forth to college. I got hundreds of credits, attempted credits at hundreds. And I studied arts, humanities, and philosophies. I got an online degree, a Christian online degree, and then Riverside Community College, I got various credits of well-versed in college, put it that way. But I keep going back, and it's good because it's good to stay active, right? A lot of people go to college for 7 years. Yeah, they're called doctors. Shut up, Richard. Tommy boy. But, so I was in acting class, and this guy told me, drop the accent, Marco. I was doing a South Carolina part. And I talked to him afterwards and said, look, I'm going to keep the accent because this scene is too real for me. 2 brothers fighting. Me and my brother fight all the time. So if I hide behind my South Carolina accent and I talk like that, I can just push it aside and put it into the character. You are really buying those presents because you're trying to hide something on you. You know, and it's just like a subtle accent. And he said, don't do that. And I was like, I have to because I'm a wreck. If I cry in this scene, if I actually do this scene is way too real for me. And it's more fun for me to jump into a character and to hide behind a character than to actually perform the scene like that. Those are some inside tidbits into my acting career. Here comes the monorail. We're losing audio here. Thank you for watching this edition of President Polo Podcast, a regular half-hour edition. Watch Ozark. I really recommend it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Live from Las Vegas, President Polo Podcast. Leave a comment. Have a great day.